October 17th, 2003, a Washington Metro controller noticed something impossible. Train 4127 arrived at its final stop with 43 passengers logged on board. The platform supervisor cleared the train. Every car, every seat, empty. But the exit sensors only counted 39 people leaving. 4 passengers were still on the train. Except the train was empty. Rafael Mendoza thought it was a computer glitch, until it happened again the next night, and the night after that. Same train, same discrepancy. Different passengers who, according to the system, never got off. When maintenance inspected the train, they found something carved into the metal wall of car 4. They count us now, dated 2 days before the first disappearance. Over the next week, Rafael uncovered something that would force Metro Transit to seal an entire investigation. 4 passengers reported missing. All of them last seen boarding the Red Line. Late at night, same train. And none of them ever logged an exit. The security footage from car 4 shows something sitting in the back corner. Something the platform staff saw but refused to report. Something that moves when the lights go out. Metro pulled train 4127 from service. The 4th car is still in storage, doors welded shut, windows covered. Officially classified as surplus equipment. But every year on October 17th, the passenger counting system logs one anomaly. A single passenger boarding at Union Station. Destination unknown. If you want to know what Rafael saw when he rode that train himself and why he can never work nights again, hit that subscribe button and drop your theory in the comments. Rafael Mendoza wasn't supposed to notice. That was the unspoken rule of the night shift at Washington Metro Transit Authority's Operations Control Center. You monitored, you logged, you responded to delays, medical emergencies, and equipment malfunctions. But you didn't dig. You didn't question the data unless it created a safety risk. And you definitely didn't flag anomalies that resolved themselves by morning. But Rafael had a problem. He was meticulous. At 34, he'd spent most of his adult life in transit systems, first as a fare collector, then platform supervisor, and finally as a night controller in the nerve center of DC's subway network. He was the kind of person who noticed when a ventilation fan changed pitch, when a signal light took 2 seconds longer to cycle, when ridership numbers didn't match historical patterns. His coworkers called him obsessive. His supervisors called him reliable. October 2003 had been uneventful. Ridership was down slightly from the previous year. Post-9/11 anxieties still lingered, and the Iraq War dominated the news. The metro ran efficiently, predictably, like a heartbeat under the city. Rafael's shift started at 11 p.m. and ended at 7 a.m., overseeing the final passenger runs and the transition into maintenance operations. Train 4127 was a Red Line service, one of the last northbound departures from Union Station, scheduled to terminate at Glenmont at 12:47 a.m. It was a quiet run, late shift workers, a few Georgetown students heading home, maybe a handful of travelers from Union Station who'd missed earlier connections. The automated passenger counting system, a network of infrared sensors installed in 2001, logged boarding and exits at each station. The data fed directly into Rafael's console, creating a real-time manifest. At 12:51 a.m., train 4127 completed its run. Rafael glanced at the screen. Arrival confirmed. Doors opened. Passenger exit, 39. Total on board after final stop, 0. The train powered down and awaited clearance to the rail yard. Everything normal. Except one line item at the bottom of the manifest. Manifest, discrepancy. Unresolved exit count, 4. Rafael frowned. He pulled up the detailed log. The system had counted 43 passengers, boarding across all stations. 39 had exited at Glenmont. That left 4. The system flagged it as a potential sensor error, passengers exiting through a malfunctioning door scanner perhaps, or a calibration drift in the infrared grid. It happened occasionally. Sensors miscounted. People stood too close together. Someone carried a large bag that triggered a double red. The protocol was simple. If the train was visually cleared by platform staff, you noted the discrepancy and moved on. Rafael radioed the Glenmont platform supervisor. "Evening, this is Control. I've got a manifest discrepancy on 4127, showing 4 unresolved exits. Can you confirm the train's been cleared?" The response came back crisp. "Control, this is Glenmont. Train cleared at 12:49. Doors visually checked. No passengers on board. Train's locked and ready for yard transfer." "Copy that. Thanks." Rafael made a note in the log. "Sensor error. Likely door 3 or 4. Schedule recalibration." He should have left it there. He'd done his job. The train was empty. The system had glitched, but something bothered him. The discrepancy wasn't distributed. It wasn't a cumulative error across multiple stations. This was clean. 4 passengers, counted accurately at boarding, never counted at exit, as if they'd simply vanished between the last station and the final stop. Rafael pulled up the historical data for train 4127. Over the past 30 days, it had logged 142 trips, 0 manifest discrepancies. Until tonight. He opened the security camera archive and queued up the footage from Glenmont Station, 12:47 to 12:52 a.m. The platform was nearly empty. The train sat still, doors open, interior lights blazing. No movement inside the cars. At 12:49, the platform supervisor walked the length of the train, glancing into each car. She paused at the 4th car, leaned in slightly, then continued. At 12:50, she radioed clearance. The doors closed. Rafael replayed the moment she paused at the 4th car. She'd looked inside. She'd seen something, or thought she'd seen something, but then moved on. He zoomed in on the 4th car's interior camera feed. The image was grainy. Standard 2003 security resolution. The car was empty. Seats unoccupied. Aisles clear. But there, in the far corner near the rear doors, something caught his eye. A shape. Not a person. More like a distortion in the frame. A slight blur, as if the camera had lost focus. It lasted less than 2 seconds. Then it was gone. Rafael felt a chill crawl up his spine. Rafael didn't go home at the end of his shift. He should have. His daughter, Isabella, had a soccer game at 9, and he'd promised to make pancakes before drop-off. But the discrepancy gnawed at him. 4 passengers, boarded, never exited. The system didn't just lose people. At 7:15 a.m., as the day shift filtered into the control center, Rafael pulled aside his supervisor, Tom Lipscomb. Tom had worked Metro since the 1980s. If anyone could explain a sensor anomaly, it was him. "Tom, you got a minute?" Tom glanced up from his coffee. "You're still here? I need you to look at something." Rafael walked him through the discrepancy. The manifest, the boarding logs, the exit counts. Tom listened, his expression shifting from mild interest to faint concern. When Rafael showed him the security footage, Tom leaned closer, squinting at the blurred shape in the 4th car. "That's a lens flare," Tom said. "Or a reflection. Happens all the time with those old cameras. But the count, Rafe, the sensors screw up, you know that. Could be someone stood in the door threshold too long. Could be the calibration's off." Tom clapped him on the shoulder. "File it as an equipment error and go home. You look like death." Rafael wanted to argue, but Tom was already walking away. He was probably right. A sensor glitch, a compression artifact, a tired mind seeing patterns in static. But Rafael couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong. He went home, made pancakes, and drove Isabella to her game. He cheered from the sidelines, his mind elsewhere. That night, he returned to the control center for his next shift, half hoping the discrepancy would be forgotten. It wasn't. At 11:47 p.m., train 4127 departed Union Station on its final northbound run. Rafael watched the manifest populate in real time. 6 passengers boarding at Metro Center, 3 at Silver Spring, 2 at Forest Glen. 11 total. The train moved smoothly through its route, each stop logged and verified. At 12:48 a.m., it arrived at Glenmont. Passenger exit, 8. Total on board after final stop, 0. Manifest discrepancy, 3. Rafael's stomach dropped, 3 passengers. Counted at boarding, never counted at exit. The same train, the same route, the same impossible result. He immediately radioed Glenmont. Control to Glenmont. I need a full visual sweep of train 4127. Check every car. I need confirmation. No passengers on board. The supervisor on duty tonight was a younger guy named Kevin Rourke. Control, we already did the sweep. Train's clear. Do it again. I need eyes on every car. A pause. Copy that. Rafael pulled up the security feed. Kevin was now walking the length of the train with a flashlight, peering into each car. When he reached the 4th car, he stopped. He stood at the door, flashlight beam sweeping the interior. Then he stepped inside. The camera angle didn't show the interior, only Kevin's silhouette framed in the doorway. He stood there for several seconds. Then he backed out quickly and keyed his radio. Control, this is Glenmont. Train is clear. No passengers. Rafael leaned closer to the monitor. Kevin's voice had changed. Something tight in it. Strained. Kevin, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. No one here. Did you see something? A long pause. No, just shadows. It's dark in there. Look, the train's clear. Can we move it to the yard? Rafael wanted to press him, but Kevin sounded rattled. Okay, clear for yard transfer. Thanks. He logged the second discrepancy and stared at the screen. 2 nights. 2 manifest errors. Same train. Same route. The odds of a sensor malfunction happening twice in the exact same way were astronomical. This wasn't a glitch. This was a pattern. Rafael opened the personnel directory and found the platform supervisor from the first night, Dolores Pritchard. He called her Sal. It rang 4 times before she picked up, her voice groggy. Hello? Dolores, it's Rafael Mendoza from Control. Sorry to wake you. I need to ask about something from 2 nights ago. Train 4127. You did the final sweep at Glenmont. You paused at the 4th car. A pause. Yeah. Why? Did you see something? Another pause. Longer. When she spoke, her voice was careful. No, I didn't see anything. But you stopped. I thought I saw someone sitting in the back. But when I looked closer, it was just a coat someone left on the seat. There was no coat in the lost and found. Dolores didn't respond immediately. Then maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was a shadow. Look, Rafael, I know how to clear a train. If I say it was empty, it was empty. Her tone shifted, defensive, irritated. Don't call me at home again unless it's an emergency. She hung up. Rafael didn't sleep that day. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the footage in his mind. The shape in the 4th car. The way Dolores had lied. The way Kevin's voice had cracked when he'd backed out of that car. By the time his next shift began, Rafael had made a decision. He wasn't going to wait for another discrepancy. He was going to find out what was on that train. At 11:30 p.m., he arrived at the control center early. Tom Lipscomb was finishing his evening briefing. Rafael waited until Tom was alone, then approached him with a printed spreadsheet. 30 days of manifest data for train 4127. Tom, I need you to look at this. Tom sighed. Rafe, we talked about this. It's a sensor issue. It's not a sensor issue. Look at the pattern. Rafael pointed to the highlighted rows. Train 4127 has had 0 discrepancies for 30 days straight. Then, 2 nights ago, 4 passengers unaccounted for. Last night, 3 passengers. Tonight's run hasn't happened yet, but I'm willing to bet we're going to see another one. Tom glanced at the spreadsheet, skeptical. So, what are you saying? The train's haunted? I'm saying something's wrong, and we need to inspect that train before it goes back into service. Tom rubbed his temples. Rafe, do you know what it costs to pull a train out of rotation for a non-emergency inspection? 3 nights, Tom. 3 nights in a row. If this were a mechanical issue, if there was a safety risk, you'd pull it in a heartbeat. Tom stared at him for a long moment. Then he picked up the phone and called the rail yard supervisor. Yeah, it's Lipscomb. I need train 4127 flagged for inspection tomorrow morning. He paused. Because I've got a controller who won't shut up about it until we do. He hung up and looked at Rafael. Happy? Thank you. That night, train 4127 ran its route as scheduled. Rafael watched the manifest with his pulse hammering. Metro Center, 4 passengers boarded. Gallery Place, 2 more. Union Station, 3, 9 total. At 12:48 a.m., the train arrived at Glenmont. Passenger exit, 6. Manifest discrepancy, 3. Rafael immediately radioed Kevin. Kevin, I need you to do another sweep of 4127. Full walkthrough. Don't just look. Check every seat, every corner. Kevin's voice came back tight. Control, I already told you. There's nothing on this train. Kevin, please. A long pause. Fine. But I'm filing a report if you keep pulling this. Rafael watched the security feed as Kevin moved through the train. First car, empty. Second car, empty. Third car, empty. When he reached the 4th car, he hesitated at the door. Then he stepped inside. The interior camera showed Kevin walking down the aisle, sweeping his flashlight across the seats. He checked under the benches, behind the poles. Nothing. He turned to leave, and then he stopped. He was staring at the back corner of the car. Kevin stood frozen, his flashlight beam fixed on the spot. Then he took a step back. Another. He turned and walked quickly out, his movements jerky. When he keyed his radio, his voice was shaking. Control, the train is clear. Kevin, what did you see? I didn't see anything. The train is clear. Kevin. The radio went dead. Rafael found Kevin's cell number and called immediately. It rang 6 times before Kevin picked up. What? Kevin, it's Rafael. What did you see in that car? I told you. Nothing. You're lying. Silence. Then, quietly. Leave it alone, man. I can't leave it alone. 3 nights in a row, the system's logging passengers that aren't there. You saw something. I need to know what it is. Kevin let out a long breath. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. There's someone sitting in the back corner. Every time I go in there, I see them out of the corner of my eye. But when I look directly, there's nothing. Just empty space. But I can feel them watching me. Kevin's voice cracked. I don't know what it is, but it's not right. It's not human. Rafael's skin prickled. Have you reported this? To who? What am I supposed to say? Hey, there's a ghost on train 4127. They'd laugh me out of the building. I've got 2 kids and a mortgage. I can't afford to lose this job over something I can't prove is real. Who else has seen this? Another pause. Ask Dolores. Ask the maintenance crew. Ask anyone who's worked the Red Line night shift in the past 6 months. We all know. We just don't talk about it. The line went dead. Rafael arrived at the rail yard at 7:45 a.m., 15 minutes before the scheduled inspection. Train 4127 sat on track 9, its cars lined up in the early morning light, silent and still. The maintenance supervisor, Vincent Ortega, met Rafael at the gate. He looked annoyed. You're the guy who requested this inspection? Yeah, Rafael Mendoza. Vincent grunted. This better not be a waste of my time. They walked through the yard until they reached track 9. Vincent unlocked the first car and stepped inside. Rafael followed. The interior smelled faintly of disinfectant and old upholstery. Vincent walked through methodically, checking the door sensors, the overhead lights, everything functional. They moved through the second car, then the third. By the time they reached the 4th car, Vincent's irritation had turned to boredom. See? Nothing. Rafael stepped into the 4th car and felt the temperature drop. It was subtle, maybe 5 degrees, but noticeable. Vincent didn't seem to feel it. Rafael moved slowly toward the back, his eyes drawn to the corner where he'd seen the shape on the footage. The seat was empty, but the air felt wrong. Thick. Heavy. You feel that? Rafael asked. Vincent glanced back. Feel what? The cold. Vincent shrugged. Air conditioning's on a timer. Rafael crouched down, looking under the seats. Nothing. He stood and turned in a slow circle. And then he saw it. Scratched into the metal panel beside the rear door, almost invisible unless you were looking for it, were 4 words. "They count us now." Rafael's breath caught. He moved closer, tracing the letters with his finger. The scratches were deep, deliberate, and below them, in smaller letters, 10/15/03, 2 days before the first discrepancy. "Vincent, come look at this." Vincent walked over, squinting at the panel. "Vandalism. Happens all the time." "Does this look like vandalism to you?" Vincent leaned closer, his expression shifting to unease. "What the hell is 'they count us now' supposed to mean?" Rafael didn't answer. He moved to the opposite wall, scanning for more marks. He found them near the window. Another set of scratches, smaller, frantic. "Don't sleep. Don't look. Don't stop." Vincent backed away. "Okay, that's messed up. I'll file a report." But Rafael was already moving through the rest of the car, checking every surface. He found more scratches near the ceiling, above the door, on the underside of the seats. Dozens of them. All different handwriting. All recent. Some were just initials. Others were warnings. "It sees you. It remembers. It rides at night." "Jesus Christ," Vincent muttered. "We need to pull this car. Now." Rafael nodded, but his mind was racing. The carvings weren't random. They were messages, left by passengers who'd ridden this train and felt the need to leave warnings. He pulled out his phone and called Tom. "Tom, it's Rafael. I need you to pull the passenger boarding logs for train 4127 going back 6 months. I need names, times, entry stations, everything. Rafe, what's going on? Just do it, please." He hung up and turned to Vincent. "I need to see the maintenance records for this car." Vincent hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me." They walked to the administrative building, where Vincent pulled up the digital maintenance log. Train 4127 had been in service since 1998, but there was a note in the file. Dated August 12th, crew reported unusual cold in car 4. HVAC inspected, no mechanical issues found. Rafael scrolled further. Another note, September 3rd. Platform supervisor reported passenger complaint. Car 4 felt wrong. No actionable issue identified. And another, September 20th. Maintenance crew refused to work overnight on car 4. Cited uncomfortable atmosphere. Rafael's phone buzzed. A message from Tom. Logs attached. Rafael opened the file. Thousands of entries. He filtered the list to show only passengers who'd boarded late at night and whose exit station wasn't logged. The list narrowed to 47 entries. 47 passengers who'd gotten on train 4127 after midnight and never gotten off. Rafael cross-referenced the names with public records. 4 names stood out. 4 passengers whose entry dates matched the nights when discrepancies had occurred, and all 4 had been reported missing. Rafael sat in Tom Lipscomb's office at 10 a.m., the passenger data spread across the desk. Tom's face was pale. 4 missing persons, all tied to train 4127. Rafael's voice was steady, but his hands weren't. And the system's been logging discrepancies every night since the first disappearance in August. Tom stared at the spreadsheet. This can't be right. If people were disappearing on metro trains, we'd know. There were investigations. I pulled the reports. Each case was filed separately. Different precincts, different jurisdictions. No one connected them because the victims didn't know each other. The only thing they had in common was boarding train 4127 late at night. And none of them ever got off. Tom rubbed his face. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting something on that train is taking them. And the sensors are counting it. Tom stood abruptly. This is insane. 4 people are missing. The system logged them as onboard. And every night since, the discrepancies have continued. Rafael leaned forward. Kevin told me platform staff have been seeing something in the 4th car for months. Everyone's been too afraid to report it. Tom paced. Even if I believed you, what am I supposed to do? Call the police and tell them a ghost is abducting passengers? Then we pull the train. Permanently. We can't just pull a train without cause. So we do nothing? Tom turned on him, angry. What do you want me to do? There's no protocol for this. Rafael stood. Then I'll handle it myself. I'm riding that train tonight. Don't be stupid. I'm going to see for myself what's in that car. Tom grabbed his arm. You're not riding that train. I'm pulling you from duty. Rafael shook him off. You can't stop me from buying a ticket. Tom's face flushed. If something is taking passengers, the worst thing you can do is make yourself a target. I have a daughter, Tom. I can't sit here and do nothing while people vanish. Tom's expression softened. He sighed, defeated. If you're doing this, you're not doing it alone. I'll have security on standby. You'll wear a radio, and if anything feels wrong, you get off immediately. Rafael nodded. Understood. That night, at 11:45 p.m., Rafael stood on the platform at Union Station, waiting for train 4127. He wore civilian clothes. A radio was clipped inside his jacket, monitored by Tom and a security team at Glenmont. At 11:52, train 4127 pulled into the station. Rafael boarded the fourth car. It was empty. He sat in the back corner. The seat was cold. He could feel his pulse in his throat. The doors closed. The train lurched forward. For the first few minutes, nothing happened. At Brookland, 2 passengers boarded. They took seats near the front. Rafael relaxed slightly. At Fort Totten, 1 exited. At Tacoma, the other got off. Rafael was alone again. The train moved into the tunnel, and the lights went out. Not a flicker. Complete darkness. Rafael's hand went to the radio, but before he could key it, the lights came back on. And someone was sitting across from him. A man. Hispanic. Mid-30s. He wore a jacket and jeans, his hands folded in his lap. His face was blank, expressionless. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Rafael's voice was barely a whisper. Who are you? The man didn't respond. He just stared. Rafael keyed his radio. Tom. I've got someone in the car with me. The man tilted his head slowly, mechanically, and then he smiled. It wasn't human. The lips pulled back too far, exposing teeth too white, too sharp. The eyes remained flat, dead. Rafael stood, backing toward the door. Tom, I'm getting off. The man stood too, not in the way a person stands. He simply transitioned from sitting to standing, with no movement in between. The train began to slow. Silver Spring Station. Rafael grabbed the pole. The doors would open. He'd get off. But when the train stopped, the doors didn't open. Rafael pounded on them. Open the doors! The man took a step closer. Rafael spun, looking for another exit, but the windows showed only darkness. Not the station, just endless black. The man spoke, his voice hollow. We ride at night. Rafael pressed himself against the door. What do you want? We ride at night. And now, you ride with us. The lights went out. Rafael felt hands, cold, impossibly strong, grab his arms. He tried to scream, but no sound came. He felt himself pulled backward, into darkness. He could hear voices, dozens of them, whispering, They count us now. They count us now. And then, light. Rafael was on the floor, gasping, his radio crackling. Rafael, answer me! Rafael keyed the radio. I'm here. I'm okay. Get me off this train. Now. The doors opened. Rafael stumbled onto the platform at Glenmont. The security team was waiting. Tom was there too. What did you see? Rafael couldn't answer. He looked back at the train. The fourth car was empty. But in the back corner, barely visible, he could see scratches on the wall. Fresh ones. They read, Rafael Mendoza, 10-20-03. Train 4127 was pulled from service the next morning. The official report cited recurring equipment malfunctions and passenger safety concerns. The fourth car was detached and sent to a secure facility. No public announcement was made. The train was quietly replaced, and the red line continued as if nothing had happened. But Rafael knew the truth. Over the following weeks, he compiled a file. passenger logs, maintenance reports, security footage, missing persons cases. He presented it to Metro Transit Authority's Internal Review Board. They listened. They reviewed the evidence. And then they sealed the file. The official conclusion: sensor calibration errors and unrelated missing persons cases. No evidence of foul play. No evidence of anomalous activity. Case closed. Rafael was reassigned to day shift operations. He never worked nights again, but the questions haunted him. What had he seen in that car? What had grabbed him? And why had it let him go? 6 months later, Rafael received a call from a private investigator working on one of the missing persons cases. The investigator had obtained security footage from Metro archives, footage that wasn't part of the official file. It showed the interior of train 4127's fourth car on the night of August 10th, 2003. A passenger, a young woman, was sitting alone in the back corner. At 12:46 a.m., the lights went out. When they came back on 2 seconds later, the woman was gone. But the seat wasn't empty. Something was sitting there. Something that looked almost human. Almost. And it was staring directly at the camera. The investigator asked Rafael what he thought it meant. Rafael told him the truth. He didn't know, but he suspected the woman and the 3 others who'd disappeared were still on that train. Somewhere. In the darkness between stations. In the space the sensors couldn't see. Because the system had been counting passengers. And when it started logging discrepancies, it wasn't malfunctioning. It was finally learning to count what had been there all along. Train 4127's fourth car remains in storage. It has never been refurbished. It has never been returned to service. Officially, it's classified as surplus equipment, awaiting decommissioning. But the doors are welded shut, the windows are covered, and the interior is monitored by a single camera that no one is authorized to view. Metro employees who work near the storage facility report strange sounds at night: scratching, whispers, the hiss of air brakes. Some claim to see lights flickering inside the sealed car, even though the power has been disconnected. And every year on October 17th, the automated passenger counting system logs a single anomaly: 1 passenger boarding at Union Station. Destination unknown. No one investigates anymore. Rafael Mendoza still works for Washington Metro. He still checks manifests, monitors systems, ensures the trains run on time. But he never looks too closely at the data, because he knows that some numbers don't add up, some passengers don't have destinations, and some trains never truly stop. Late at night, when the city sleeps and the tunnels are empty, train 4127's replacement runs the same route. Same schedule, same stops. And sometimes, just sometimes, the sensors log a discrepancy. Passengers counted on board, 43. Passengers exiting, 42. The system flags it. Controllers note it. Maintenance schedules a recalibration, and deep in storage, in a windowless facility on the edge of the rail yard, the fourth car sits in darkness, waiting. Because it's still counting, and it's still riding every single night.